Coming up on this episode of One-on-One Sports.
The NBA season is finally underway, and our roundtable experts will look ahead to some of the top stories heading into the season.
Plus, the San Francisco Giants swept the Detroit Tigers to win the World Series. What was their secret to their success?
All that and more, and it all starts right now.
Welcome to One-on-One Sports. I'm Joe DiRienzo.
And I'm Curt Lestan. We have a great show lined up for you today, so let's kick things off with our starting five.
After being one loss away from elimination against both the Cincinnati Reds and St. Louis Cardinals, the San Francisco Giants have won the World Series, sweeping the Detroit Tigers in dominant fashion. Pablo Sandoval won Series MVP after hitting 3 home runs in Game 1, adding to the Giants' momentum they had gained from the LCS. Now, Curt, was it that momentum that really put the Giants over the top and won it for them, or were they that much better of a team than the Tigers?
Joe, you are absolutely right. I mean, it is the momentum that's certainly gone in there. I mean, if you look at them, okay, they played a 7-game series against the Cardinals. They had to fight teeth and nail to win that series, okay?
Oh, yeah.
And they did it. They did give them all the credit in the world, and they used that momentum rolling on into the World Series, whereas the Tigers had to wait because they swept the Yankees.
Yeah.
And you know what? It certainly came back to bite them in the butt.
Yeah, you saw the same thing happen to the Tigers as it did last time they made the World Series. They came out flat after having that break before they started. But, you know, I'm going to talk a little about the Giants' pitching because that was one of the most dominant pitching performances in World Series history. 1.42 ERA by the starters, and the bullpen didn't allow a run after the first game, and they scored 8 runs that game. So,
see, Joe, that'll certainly help. But I'm going to mention the Tigers' offense. Okay, when you have Prince Fielder and Miguel Cabrera basically disappear in a series, and those are your 2 big bangers, that can't help at all.
Yeah, the big names did not help them that much.
Yeah, it certainly came up short. During the owner meetings right before tip-off of the NBA season, David Stern announced that he will be retiring as the commissioner of the National Basketball Association on February 1st, 2014. That day will mark the end of a 30-year run leading the league, which is the longest in professional sports history. Joe, do you believe that David Stern is the greatest commissioner of all time?
Now, you know what? I can't deny that he has done some great things for the association. Yes, TV deals, marketing the league, cleaning up the image overall. He's done some great stuff for that league. There have been some questionable moments. The Seattle Sonics move, the whole move to Oklahoma City, how he was sort of involved. Everybody was confused about that. The basketball reasons for denying the Chris Paul trade last year. Just there were certain things that made you raise an eyebrow at David Stern.
I mean, and certainly, you know, when you're commissioner for 30 years, certainly there's going to be things that people like and things that people don't like.
Exactly.
The way I look at it is I look at a commissioner like Gary Bettman of the NHL. Mm-hmm. When he goes to hand out the Stanley Cup at the whenever the winner is crowned,
there will be a standing ovation.
Typically, there's a standing ovation. He gets booed. He got booed in Vancouver, which is a hockey city. They love hockey. That's understandable because they're smart. He got booed in L.A. Not that they're not smart, but they're not hockey fans. They still booed him. The fact that David Stern is at least liked a little bit goes a long way.
He does get his fair share of boos,
that is true.
There's no denying that.
Not as hated.
After losing the NBA Finals to the Miami Heat last year, everyone wanted to see the Oklahoma City Thunder make another run with their young core. However, after James Harden turned down a 4-year, $55 million extension, and with the threat of him becoming a free agent next offseason looming, the Thunder shipped Harden and his beard off to the Houston Rockets in a 6-player deal. Now, Curt, do you think this was the right move for them, or should they have gone a little bit further and gotten Harden to sign to the big deal?
Did they have an option of keeping the beard?
I don't think that's possible.
Well, you know what, I think it is.
I'm sure they tried.
I think it's a great move for them because, you know what, they get 2 first-round picks, a second-round pick, and Kevin Martin in the deal. Yeah, Jeremy Lamb's a good young player, but you know what, let's face it. They got a lot for what they gave up in James Harden, who's basically a 6th man.
Yeah.
Now, granted, his upside is big, but if you can't sign him and come to an agreement, you should get something for him. Don't let him walk.
He was absolutely a part of that core with Durant, Westbrook, and Serge Ibaka. But you know what? If he was going to walk, don't extend that extra money. Yeah, you've got this core now of 3 with these guys. Kevin Martin's no slouch.
No,
not
at all.
A guy who can shoot. So, yeah, that's an additional guy. They don't have all this money stuck in James Harden so they can improve the bench on their team for a change.
Absolutely. And you know what I mean? If you look at this deal, it's the fact that you could either hold on to him for another year and then have him walk and get nothing, or get some significant pieces back. It's a smart move all around. Tim Tebow has long been critiqued for his play on the field from analysts and talking heads like myself. But now he's hearing it from his fellow players. In a recent Sports Illustrated poll of 180 current NFL players, Tebow was named the most overrated player in the league by a whopping 34%, Joe. Do you agree with the players here, or is someone else more worthy?
It is amazing how high of a number that is. Because if you look at Tebow got 34%. The next closest was 8 or 9%.
8% with Mark 8%
Sanchez. With Mark Sanchez, another Jets quarterback.
Yeah,
Go
it's not
figure.
too good for the Jets.
But I'm going Phillip Rivers here. And
I like that.
I have a problem with this because Phillip Rivers is always mentioned in that elite quarterback conversation.
Yeah,
no, not elite. 8 touchdowns and 12 picks in his career in the postseason. Not elite. Don't buy him as an elite quarterback at all.
So I like that. I like that for sure. This might surprise you a tad bit. I'm going with Tom Brady, okay?
No, you know what? I like that.
Really?
Yeah.
You agree with me?
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay, but listen, if you look at Tom Brady, okay, granted, he is compared to some of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. When you go to 2 straight Super Bowls against the same team, same quarterback, and lose both of them, you can't be in that category.
Yeah, you know, he was great at a time, but there are just points in games where you're watching Tom Brady and you're like, wait, what were you doing just there? That was not an elite throw that you made. Like, he's very inconsistent. He does do the great things, but not as well as people say he
Joe,
does.
you're preaching to the choir.
The New York Islanders announced that they are leaving their arena in Nassau and moving to Brooklyn, signing a new 25-year lease with a brand-new, state-of-the-art Barclays Center starting in 2015. With rumors swirling of a potential relocation to Seattle, Kansas City, or even Quebec, Kurt, how do you think Islanders fans should feel about this move?
I think they should feel better that they're not going to Seattle or Quebec or a place. That's certainly
moving a little closer than that.
Yes, it's certainly a plus. But at the same time, if I'm an Islanders fan and now I have to go 45 more minutes out of my way to get to a game, that doesn't entice me. But Joe, it doesn't make me happy.
Come on, Kurt.
Joe, gas is expensive right now.
Okay, they've moved 45 minutes down the Grand Central Parkway, so it's not a big deal at all for those fans. Moving closer, hopefully people that are going to watch the games. In the 7 years since the 04-05 lockout, ready for this?
I'm listening.
Second to last in attendance. Last, second to last, last, third to last, last. Oh my gosh, where are the fans of this team?
Joe, listen.
They can't complain about a move if they don't go to their stadium.
But Joe, this is a team that's on the uprise. They really are. And the fact that they're going to a nicer arena certainly will help in bringing more fans.
It will.
But for those that it does inconvenience, it's not a great thing.
There will be less inconvenience fans that won't go. If they were actually diehard Islanders fans, I'm sure they'll go the extra 45.
Would you drive an extra hour for your team?
Yes, I would.
Well, it's time for us to take our first break. But when 101 returns, I'll be joined by one of our MLB experts to dive deeper into the outcome of the World Series. Stay tuned.